Hello everybody, it's your girl T from T's Corner coming with Greenleaf. What is this? Season 1, Episode 9, The Broken Road review. Let me just tell y'all, I'm high as a kite off of this show. I swear. I literally took my pulse after the credits rolled. It was 97 beats a minute. They trying to kill me with... It's just that intense. I know y'all like, is she really vain enough to have a shirt on with her face on it? Yes. Yes, she is. That's my niece, Muffin Johnson. She's 8 now. This was our very first picture, and that was about a year before I cut off my hair. So now that we've addressed the elephant in the room, let's get to this episode. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, I took notes so I could come and give a very nice and thorough, in-depth review of this show. About 20 minutes in, I was so hyped. I'm going to probably miss a lot of stuff, but you probably saw it. And if you didn't get to watch on app, you'll be able to see it tomorrow. Okay, so start out with the guy. What's his name? Brother Steve, I think it is. Talkative Thomas. This dude talks too much. And you can't just ask a question and move on. He got to give you a whole scenario, tell you his whole life story in every conversation. And he always wants something. I'm like, why does he always go to Gigi to get it? There's a million other Greenleafs and it's a mega church. How many other associate pastors or whatever are there? He always goes to her to ask for something. So now he won't be on the deacon board. We'll see how that plays out. In the beginning, though, you see Gigi sitting there in reflection. And then you see Kevin in the sanctuary sitting in reflection. Now, both of them have a lot going on in their mind, you know, right now with their lives. But Kevin is just getting messier and messier. And is it just me, or in the clip for next week, does the dude got on lipstick? Really? Just tell your wife and move on and stop with all this problem causing and heartbreak. Got this woman crying and stuff. I get to that. I'm jumping ship. But I'm just saying, that's how it started out. They were both in reflection. And I'm sitting there thinking, Kevin know he wrong. And I'm sure Gigi feels kind of responsible for David's death because she talked him into staying. And he came to church to let her know that he had. And ends up getting murdered. So that's kind of crazy. The whole issue of safety at the church and deacon's meeting, that didn't really make sense to me because, like I said, David Nelson was the target. It was a one-time incident. It was the brother of Kenny Collins who killed David Nelson. So why are people now afraid to come to church and want to bring guns and have security and blah blah blah? And Lady May, being Lady May, trying to run stuff while sitting up there saying, but I'm not trying to run it. Yeah, that's just her thing. That's how she rolls. So, I personally think, you know, having armed security at the church is a bit much, and I don't think it's necessary because I think it was an isolated incident. So then at the end of the meeting, and it seems to me that Gigi and Noah are trying to avoid each other after, you know, the amazing scene they gave us last week. And what is that? Sorry. So they go to Noah's office to talk, and Noah says, you know, hey, before we get in there, you know, now that my future mother-in-law is in town, my office is wedding central. So Gigi has to go in there. Her face cracks a little bit. It does. And I felt her pain. I really felt sorry for her. Because like, she got to go in there and see all of this wedding hoopla. And then he's talking about Hawaiian honeymoons and dreams coming true. Don't nobody want to hear that. She's supposed to be your dream that comes true. And since you're still marrying Isabelle after you slept with her, keep it to yourself. We don't want to talk about it. What's that? I don't even know what that says. See, I was writing stuff down and don't even know. But I noticed that when she touched his hand, it seemed like even that was so emotional and just so full of emotion. I was just like, oh, my heart is breaking for her. And he like really playing it cool, which is usually not the case because he usually looks at her with love in his eyes. And now it's like he trying to fall back a little bit. But so I don't know what that's about. Then we come up on Charity and Kevin. And Kevin has turned into Jacob. Now he in the bathroom scrolling and texting with the phone and whatever. And Charity grabbing the phone, you know, everybody want the password, everybody want the phone. I'm not going to do all that. If it's something in your phone so bad that you have to hide it, you keep it. Because if it's something that's so bad that you have to hide from me, then I'm about to send you on your way, you and your phone. But I guess, you know, when you're married and you're in love and you're pregnant, that's easier said than done. Or that you would even want to do it. But Kevin is just really, first, I said I believe he honestly loves Charity and that they are best friends. But what he's doing to her right now is pissing me off. I'm like, okay, if you're going to be gay, go ahead and be gay. But what you need to do first is deal with your feelings. You need to deal with them yourself. Then you need to share them with your wife and stop taking her through and put that damn phone up. Let's see. So, Jesus, my handwriting sucks. Alright, so Grace is going to, I don't know what I wrote down. I'm just going to tell y'all what I was thinking. Because this, I'm writing in the dark and... Now I'll turn the lights on, you know, later. But so Bishop believes, not even that he believes what Grace has to say. He doesn't believe Gigi on what she said because he didn't really believe her 20 years ago. But after seeing the video and hearing about the other girls, he believes it, and he automatically understands that if Uncle Devil did these things to Danielle and Vita, then he definitely did what he was accused of doing to Faith. So he's upset, and, you know, as a father would be, he's dealing with that. And then he says, we got to tell your mother. And Gigi is not very happy about that because we all know how Lady Mae treats her. And it's just like, do we have to tell her anything? But as somebody on Twitter said, Lady Mae was ear hustling, so she heard the end of the conversation. And so they clue her in, they let her know everything that's going on. They show her the video of Danielle's confession, and she still doesn't believe it. She's going to talk to her brother. She doesn't believe it because Bishop, word ain't law, and he done his dirt, and God knows what her problem is with her daughter. But, you know, I'm supposed to believe it because Gigi said it, and I don't know this Danielle person, you know, and her word ain't law, and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I'm going to talk to my brother because he's the only person alive who was supposed to be around when these things was going on. So, Bishop, in an attempt to keep Uncle Devil in town until the wedding's over, so then they can report him to the police. But they're trying to protect the wedding. They don't want to mess up anything with the wedding. And I guess I can understand where Gigi coming from. You done already slept with the groom, so you don't want to mess nothing else up. I get it. So, he goes to Mac and asks him to stay to go over these security issues. And Mac's like, that don't got nothing to do with me. I'm trying to go to Cuba, get some fish. You know, Cuba open. Let's everybody get into Cuba. So, he goes to Lady Mae and says, hey, James wants me to stay and cancel my fishing trip, and I don't know why, so why don't you talk to him? Because I'll do it, but I don't really want to. Which is how she ends up ear hustling and coming in on the end of the conversation with Bishop and Gigi. So, Lady Mae goes to talk to him after she's seen the video of Danielle and she's learned about Vita and everything. And she's upset, but she wants to believe her brother. She doesn't want to believe that her brother is this monster. That he is, but she doesn't want to believe it. So, she goes to the office and she confronts him about it head on. And he's study line and quoting scripture and talking about their dead mother and we all we got, like they B&B or something. And for me, well, of course I know he's lying because, you know, I'm on the outside and I get a bigger picture than the character, so of course we know he's lying. But the thing that stuck out to me is that in the confession, when she asked him about Danielle, he said he don't know who the baby is. He was trying to help Danielle out because she was afraid her mother couldn't afford the abortion, so he took her to get the abortion. Lies, but that's what he said. Then she asked about Vita, and he said, you gonna ask me about every woman that I've ever come in contact with that I ever known? She said, no, I'm just asking you about Vita. And for those of you who don't know, Vita is the daughter of Secretary Darlene at the church. So, instead of saying anything about Vita, he says, what are you going to do? Question me about every woman that I've known over the past 20 years? And for me, that should have been the clue, because I'm like, why would you say 20 years? You're a lot older than 20. Why you ain't say 50 or my whole life or whatever? Why did you stick with 20? Why? Because 20 years ago was when you raped Janice's Faith repeatedly. And then he even continues to say, I love Faith. She was the best of us. You know, God only takes the best. And I think about her every day. And what do you want from me? And Lady May's like, I want you to tell me you didn't do it. And he's like, that's what I've been saying. I didn't do it. And Lady May's like, all right. And he was like, so you believe me? You believe me? And she was like, yeah, I do. I actually do believe me. And I'm sitting there going, Lady May, I know you ain't fall for that. I know you not believing him on that. But then you see her face as she's walking away. And it clicks. It's like, she don't believe this. She didn't peeped his game. And now, you know, she's trying to give him a false sense of security until they can do something. So she goes back to James and lets him know that she didn't believe him, what he said. She apologizes to Darlene, you know, and they, you know, God bless you, because, you know, both of them are now mothers of victims of Uncle Devil. But what really got me was that is how Lady May is so venomous to Gigi. Just say any and everything to her. Reckless, no cut cards, nothing. But Uncle Mac, who is obviously the devil to everyone but her, I guess, you know, she falls for it, and she's sugar and honey with Uncle Mac, and she's like straight salt and vinegar with Gigi. Now that takes you to about 15-20 minutes into the episode, and I ain't take no more notes, because I was just like, oh my God, I can't even write nothing else. I was just amazed. So, long story short is, every time that insecure Isabelle and her mother are talking, somebody comes in and is like, hey, Mom, can you give us, you know, a minute of privacy? So, because it's going to affect the wedding, Gigi tells Noah that her mother knows about Uncle Mac and things may hit the fan, so you may want to tell Isabelle, because we don't want to mess your wedding up. You know, what's going on. So, Noah goes to Isabelle and tells her about Uncle Mac and blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know what prompted this, but insecure Isabelle decides to go to Gigi's office and talk to her. And I guess it's an apology, because she says, you know, I've been waiting, you know, I've been anticipating something happening between you and Noah, pretty much. And ever since you got here, I've been waiting for the other shoe to drop, pretty much. And then after a while, you guys started spending so much time together. I thought for sure something was going to happen between you. But now that he's told me about Mr. McCready, I know that's why y'all were spending so much time together. But when she came in to say she wanted to talk, Gigi's face cracked a little bit, because she knew that she slept with Noah. And insecure Isabelle may be insecure, but she ain't dumb. And she put 2 and 2 together, and it equaled 4 legs intertwined up against that wall, and probably later in the bed, and some more stuff. So, she went to him, and again, he's in there with her mother, and they're talking wedding plans and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, Mom, can you give us a minute, please? And Mom, like, people keep on asking me to leave the room. Is everything okay? She says, yeah, you know, everything's fine. So, Mom leaves the room. She looks him dead in his face and asks him, did you sleep with Gigi? He's like, what? Why would you say that? I'm giving you an opportunity to be honest with me. Don't lie. Tell me, did you sleep with Gigi? Now, of course, his eyes told all his truth, even though he didn't say anything. And she's like, thank you for not lying. He's like, I didn't say anything. You didn't have to. So, she's pissed, and she starts reading him. And was like, I knew you were weak. And I was like, none of that really makes him look bad. Everything you said makes you look even more stupid. Because if you knew all of that, why were you marrying him in the first place? Is it because you're so insecure, you're just trying to hold on to whatever you done caught? Because if he was weak and you knew he wasn't ready and you knew he was still hung up on her, why would you say yes to his proposal. Why would you be going to marry him? Why are we working toward getting married this weekend if you already knew all of that about him? So that I didn't get. And then Messy Carissa and Jacob sit down, because after, Jacob is made aware of what's going on and he sees Danielle's confession, he admits that he always believed what Gigi said about faith. He didn't want to, and it was easier to just put it away and leave it alone instead of, doing something about it. To which Gigi excuses him because she says at the time you were a child, there was nothing you could do. So I guess he in turn goes and fills in Carissa, because at first he's going to kill Uncle Mac right then. I'm going to kill him right now. That's what he said. I'm going to go kill him right now. And Gigi talked him down. So he goes to Carissa and he lets Carissa know what's going on, because now they have to talk to Zora and find out if Uncle Devil has done anything inappropriate with her. To which she says no, and she knows something's going on because they're bribing her. They've given her pizza. They said she can watch TV. Jacob's calling her princess. She was like, something's going on. Is Uncle Mac a perv? And they were like, just let us know. And she was like, no, he never did anything. It was like, okay, don't say anything to anybody. So, of course, what does she do? But go to her room and tell Sophia. And she was asking Sophia, had he ever done anything to her? And she said no. And she said, well, Zora, this is now, says that she was riding in Granddaddy's car and sitting next to him. And he had his hand near her leg, and he was touching her, and he never moved it. And then she scooted over when she realized that he was not going to move his hand. And then she says, don't you think that's weird? And I'm just like, for some reason, I just thought that Zora was too mouthy for him because he knew she would tell. And then you find out that he was inappropriate with her, and she didn't tell, which is very shocking to me. So Bishop has this gun. I'm telling you, this show got me so wound up, my heart's still racing. Bishop has his gun, and he's sitting there and he's contemplating. And then he takes his gun and goes for a walk down Church Hall. And he walks to Uncle Devil's office. And he looks at him and says, May couldn't convince you, huh? And Bishop looks back at him and says, wrong. You didn't convince her. We know you're lying. He's still saying, I didn't touch her, I didn't touch her. Still lying. You caught 100 ways from Sunday, and you're still saying you didn't do anything. So, Bishop has this gun, and he's showing it to him, and he says, I've had this for a while, and I brought it to church after the shooting Sunday, and nobody knows I have it. And I guess that's Bishop's way of saying, I can shoot your ass right here, and nobody would suspect anything because nobody knows I have my gun here at church. So, I'm on the couch chanting, shoot him, Bishop, shoot him. Shoot him, Bishop, shoot him. Then, of course, it goes off, so we don't know if Bishop shoots him. But, before we get to that, when Insecure Isabelle goes back to, I'm watching Greenleaf reruns on OWN right now, so I keep looking up at the TV. But, when she goes and confronts Noah about what happens, Lord forgive me. Lord forgive me. But I was so happy. I was so happy. I've been waiting since the season started for that face crack. And it finally came tonight. Because her damn face definitely cracked when she realized, even before she went to him and confronted him, when she realized he slept with Grace. And I was just like, you know what? I shouldn't take joy in it, but I do. And it's a terrible thing. But like I've been telling y'all, I don't like her because she's insecure. And I think that she's been pushing and pushing and pushing. She keeps bringing Grace up. She wants to know what she looks like. She wants to go out, have barbecue, want to ask who she's bringing to the wedding and blah, blah, blah. You keep showing Noah that shiny red Grace apple. And then you get mad when he take a bite. Some of this is your fault. It's mostly him and Grace's fault, but you take a little bit of blame in it. So I was a little bit happy at, her misfortune and broken heart. And that's just mean, but it's the truth. So, Noah, who has thoroughly pissed me off for the evening, comes to Grace's office. And he got this look on his face like, he's mad with her. And he asks her did you do it on purpose? And she was like, I didn't do it at all. She figured it out on her own. And he's like, you're right. You know, his attitude is like ignorant. And he walks out. And immediately, I'm taking it back because I'm like, no, you did not. She didn't force herself on you. You did not accidentally fall up into nothing. You put your big boy drawers on, and then you took everybody's drawers off on purpose. So don't be mad now because Isabelle says the wedding's off, because you put yourself in that predicament. No one but you. Can't blame Grace. Can't even really blame insecure Isabelle, because at the end of the day, you're a grown man and you did what you wanted to do. And you enjoyed it. And you should feel guilty and happy at the same time. So he goes on about his business, and that leaves Grace like, really? And then she goes to look for her father, and he's not in the office. And the new secretary, whose name I cannot recall, who is so funny and nonchalant and don't really care about what's going on in the church. She is on her phone with her earbuds in and minding her own business and working at the church. The Jackson's granddaughter. I can't think of her name. But she's like, I don't know where he at. And so Grace sets off to find him. And I guess after, you know, walking down the hall, something clicks that, you know, something is not right. Maybe Daddy about to shoot Uncle Mac. So, or do something to him, you know. And so she's headed in the direction of Uncle Mac's office. And here comes, what's his name? Talkative Thomas. About, I don't even know what it was about this time. It wasn't a deacon board or something. And she was just like, I don't have time for this right now. And she tried to be polite. And he kept on. Well, it's just a small amount of, so she had to like get a little bit nasty with him. Like, I don't have time. I can't put you on a deacon board. Whatever it is ain't important right now. I got other stuff to do. And he looks butthurt, but she told you she ain't had time for it. And you kept on talking, so that's your fault. So then they leave us with this cliffhanger. And so we don't know if anybody gonna get shot or what. But next week, Lady May got blood on her hands, literally. So somebody gonna catch one. I don't know how or why. And then you see Grace walking down the hall with the gun. So yes, I'm super psyched for next week's episode. And I think it would just be poetic justice if Grace shot Uncle Mac. That would, you know, not that I'm advocating violence, or I just, you know, deep down, you know, we want child molesters to get what they got coming to them. And a bullet in the chest would just be poetic justice. And a bullet in the chest from Grace to Uncle Mac, it's just, you know, ice cream with a cherry on top. Because she's been dealing with this for 20 years. Everybody else has just come to this realization that what she and Faith said 20 years ago was true. And she's been having to carry this burden for 20 years by herself. So I think that if anybody gets any justice, if there can be any had, considering Faith's dead, it should be Grace. So I'm really excited about next week. And Dewan Owens. Actor Dewan Owens. I want to know who his character is. And I have to wait until next week for that, because nobody will tell me. So that's Greenleaf Season 1, Episode 9 in a nutshell. And it's really calm. I've given you the really calm version. But reality is you have to see it, because it was anything but. It was intense and moving from moment to moment and gripping and edge of the seat. And you have to see it. So, T's Corner, signing out.